Today we will discuss a crucial aspect of spiritual transformation. In a world full of chaos and change, we often search for support, something that will give us strength to weather storms, find purpose, feel meaning. We study techniques, manifestations, principles of materializing desires, but something truly profound eludes us. Why? Because we're still looking outside for what lives within. As neuropsychologist Alan Shore noted, the most important journey for a human is not the outward movement to conquer the world, but the inward dive to discover one's true nature. We spend our lives climbing the ladder of success, only to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall. The true summit has always been within us. In the process of regressive therapy, we work on dissolving energetic contracts, those inner promises we unconsciously made to ourselves and the world, to be victims, to obey destructive programs, to play others' roles, to conform to others' expectations, to live by others' rules. These contracts limit our potential, drain our strength, and lead us away from our authentic path. By freeing ourselves from these contracts, we release an enormous amount of energy. But then an important question inevitably arises. Where should we direct this liberated power? How do we fill the space previously occupied by the heavy energies of the past? How do we anchor ourselves in this new state? And here's the key insight after terminating contracts with the shadow. It's time to establish a new agreement with your own inner wisdom, with your authentic self. This isn't just freedom from the past, but a conscious choice of a new path. Imagine this as a sacred promise, to be yourself, to follow your unique path, to fully trust your inner wisdom. This isn't simply an agreement with yourself. It's establishing a living connection that links your inner light with the infinite source of life and light, with the divine. When a person consciously enters such a union, a profound reconfiguration of the entire being occurs. Instead of the previous orientation toward external directives and limitations, a direct connection with the inner compass is established, with that which has always known your true path. Today we will explore how to establish and strengthen this connection. True transformation happens not through effort and struggle, but through recognition. Within you is a divine source, unchanging, alive, loving. And access to it lies through inner work, through a state of silence and conscious presence. Living contact with the source, the path home. After learning to recognize telepathic bridges and establish a connection with deep intuition, it's time to talk about what matters most, living contact with the source. This is where the real path to inner strength begins. Not with external techniques, not with struggle, but with silence. With the acknowledgement, I am not alone. The source is within me, and then with permission for it to manifest. We are like solar panels that have forgotten they were created for the sun. We try to nourish ourselves with artificial light when an infinite flow of energy directly from the heavens is available to us. Each morning is an opportunity to start anew. Awakening is not just emerging from sleep, it's an opportunity to awaken to your true nature. Begin your day with a simple but powerful address. I recognize the divine presence within me. I am Him. May your light manifest through my actions, thoughts, feelings. I am not separate from you. I am part of you. We are not empty vessels waiting to be filled. We are springs that have forgotten their source. Remove the stones, and the water will flow by itself. When you walk this path, what happens is not magic, but a miracle. You don't attract what you desire. You become a conduit for a purpose greater than yourself. And everything that should manifest comes at the right time. This is a fundamentally different approach to life and the realization of desires. Stars don't ask permission to shine. A rose doesn't force itself to be fragrant. Why do we think our essence needs to be created through effort? The main understanding I want to convey today: we don't need to create something new. We only need to cleanse ourselves of what is foreign, unnecessary, outdated, and allow the true to manifest. It's like with marble. The sculptor doesn't create the statue, he liberates it by removing everything superfluous. Similarly, you don't create your strength, you free it from beneath layers of others' expectations, fears, imposed beliefs. Your true nature is like a diamond buried in dirt. You don't need to become a diamond, you already are one. You just need to remove the dirt. As one of the great ones said, you don't have to force yourself to shine. You are light. Just stop hiding it. When a person terminates their contract with fear, they don't receive courage. They discover that courage was always within them, fear just held it hostage. The practice of living contact with the source is not a complex technique, but simple presence. It's conscious breathing in which you receive divine energy on the inhale and allow it to flow through you into the world on the exhale. It's quietly listening to that voice within that has always known your truth. Imagine you've been carrying a huge backpack full of stones on your shoulders all your life. Now put it down. Feel the lightness. This is not a new feeling, it's your natural state. You just forgot about it while carrying someone else's burden. When you enter into a new agreement with the divine within you, you don't acquire something foreign. You return home, to your authentic self. And in this return is the beginning of a new path, filled not with struggle but with flow, not with effort but with joy, not with fear but with love. Life is not a stone wall that needs to be broken through. It's a river in which you need to learn to swim. Step 2. Permission to manifest. After recognizing the presence of the divine source within us, the crucial second step arrives, giving permission for this power to manifest through us. This step requires courage and trust because we release control and become conduits for something greater than our ego. As noted by distinguished neuropsychologist Alan Shore, we are not separate, closed systems, but open, dynamic structures that need emotional resonance and connection for our development. In his research, Shore demonstrates that our right brain, the repository of intuition and deep wisdom, is tuned to nonverbal communication with other right hemispheres and with deeper levels of reality. Giving permission for the source to manifest is not passive waiting but an active decision. It's a conscious choice to be a conduit rather than a creator. Instead of considering yourself separate from the source and trying to attract or create something, you recognize yourself as an expression of divine presence. This can be expressed in words like, I express your abundance and your love through my actions and thoughts. Be my foundation. When a flower opens to the sun, it doesn't create light. It allows light to transform it into beauty. This approach radically changes the relationship to desires. Instead of considering desires as our own and trying to realize them through struggle and effort, we begin to perceive them as something seeking expression through us. Desire ceases to be a burden of personal responsibility and becomes a signpost from the source. Desire is not your personal dream, but the voice of your soul that remembers why you came. When we give permission for the inner light to manifest, a natural process of transformation begins. We stop fighting life and start flowing with it. We release the need to control outcomes and trust in a higher order of wisdom. In this state of permission, we no longer try to mechanistically attract what we desire. We become a channel through which higher wisdom manifests in the material world. And in this lies the secret of true abundance, health, and harmony. We don't attract what we want. We manifest who we are. Morning practice, daily connection with the source. After we have recognized the presence of the divine source and given permission for it to manifest through us, it's important to reinforce this connection with a daily practice. Here, the morning practice becomes especially valuable, a bridge between the world of sleep and the world of wakefulness. Why is morning so significant? Neurobiology gives us the answer. When we first wake up from sleep, but haven't yet opened our eyes, our brain is in a special alpha state. Brain wave frequency oscillates in the range of 8 to 12 hertz. This is a state of deep receptivity when the barrier between the conscious and subconscious becomes more permeable. At this moment, we are most open to contact with our inner wisdom. The alpha state is a state of natural meditation, a bridge between the analytical daytime mind and the intuitive nighttime perception. This is the ideal moment to establish a connection with the source, when the logical mind hasn't yet fully engaged, but the body has awakened from sleep. Morning is not just the beginning of a new day, it's a portal between worlds, when you are closest to your true nature. Here is a simple and effective daily morning practice that takes just a few minutes, but can change the course of your entire day. Upon waking, don't open your eyes immediately. Feel your body, your breathing. Acknowledge that you're awakening to a new day. In this alpha state, address the divine source within. I acknowledge your presence in me. I am you. I thank you for another day of life. Formulate your permission to manifest. I allow your light to flow through me. May my thoughts, words, and actions today be an expression of your wisdom and love. Recognize your role as a conduit and creator. Today, I become a source of inspiration for myself and the world around me. I not only receive, but also give. Not only accept light, but also radiate it. It's important to emphasize, this is not a one-time technique, but a daily practice. Just as physical exercise requires regularity to transform the body, spiritual practice requires daily repetition to transform consciousness. Each morning is an opportunity to reestablish connection, confirm your intention, renew your contract with the source. Raindrops falling on a stone every day eventually create an indentation. It's not strength, but regularity that creates change. Let me share an example from my client Marina's practice. A year ago, she came to me in a state of deep burnout, a successful businesswoman who had achieved everything she had planned, but lost joy and meaning. We began work with the morning practice of connecting with the source. For the first 2 weeks, nothing special happened, although Marina noted that she became a little calmer. In the 3rd week, she noticed that she began to react differently to stressful situations. Instead of an automatic reaction, there was a pause, a moment of choice. By the end of the month, colleagues began to ask what had happened to her. She seemed to radiate some inner light. After 3 months of daily practice, Marina spontaneously found a solution to a long-standing business problem. It came to her precisely in that morning alpha state when she was doing her practice. And after 6 months, she not only emerged from burnout, but also restructured her business to align with her deep values and launched a social project she had long dreamed of. The most amazing thing is that Marina truly became a source of inspiration. Several of her colleagues, seeing her transformation, also began the practice of connecting with the source and noted positive changes in their lives. This daily morning practice in the alpha state programs our subconscious for the entire day, creating a pattern of perception and actions aligned with our true nature. Each morning, we form a new union with ourselves and the source, a union of creation and manifestation, of receiving and giving. Each morning is not just a new page in the book of your life. It's an opportunity to take the pen in hand and become the author of this story, not just its reader. Beyond duality, unity as the key to transformation. After mastering the practice of daily connection with the source, it is important to deepen our understanding of the fundamental principle underlying all our work. This principle is unity, moving beyond dualistic thinking. Notice how all the previous steps naturally lead us to this realization. When we terminate contracts with the shadow, freeing ourselves from destructive programs, we step out of the field of struggle. When we establish a telepathic bridge to the source, we discover that the boundaries between I and not I become permeable. When we give permission for the source to manifest through us, we cease separating ourselves from it. All this work consistently leads us beyond duality. Duality is the lens through which the limited mind looks. Unity is what the awakened heart sees. Traditional thinking divides the world into good and evil, light and darkness, right and wrong. It creates internal conflicts and projects them outward. We find ourselves in a state of constant struggle with ourselves, with others, with circumstances. It is this thinking that generates suffering. At the foundation of everything lies unity, and the realization of this unity is the key to true transformation. This doesn't mean we stop distinguishing things or making choices. Rather, we stop investing the energy of conflict and opposition into these distinctions. As stated in ancient texts, the letter kills, but the spirit gives life. This profound wisdom resonates with what we discussed in the section on telepathic perception. True understanding comes not through analyzing form, but through direct perception of essence. What matters is not the formal approach, not literal adherence to rules or techniques, but a deep understanding of the essence, an openness of heart, and a readiness to be a conduit for divine presence in the world. The map is not the territory, the menu is not the food, words about love are not love itself. Behind any description hides the ineffable fullness of direct experience. Remember our example with Marina. Her transformation occurred not because she mechanically performed a technique, but because through practice she came to a living experience of unity with the Source. This is not thinking about unity, but directly experiencing it. In a state of unity, we discover that there is no separate I that must struggle and prove itself. There is only life, manifesting through an infinite variety of forms, each being an expression of the single Source. In this realization, true freedom is born freedom not from something, but for something, for creativity, for love, for service. Unity is not the absence of diversity, but its deep foundation. Just as the infinite variety of colors comes from one sunlight, refracted in raindrops. Moving beyond duality is not a concept to be understood, but a living experience to which all our practice leads. Morning connections with the Source, telepathic perception, awareness of the divine presence within, all these are paths leading to one summit, from which a view of the unity of all being opens up. Conclusion: an invitation to awakening. We have reached the end of our journey through the map of inner awakening. Looking back, we see that this path begins with crisis as an opportunity for transformation, passes through terminating old contracts with the shadow, establishing a living connection with the divine Source, and leads to the realization of the unity of all being. The amazing truth is that unlocking inner power doesn't require supernatural efforts or complex techniques. It is based on a simple yet profound recognition of who you truly are and allowing this truth to manifest through your life. This is a return home to your authentic self, not a journey to something external or unattainable. The path to awakening is like opening your eyes, not running a marathon. It requires not endurance, but a willingness to see what has always been before you. This is a path without struggle, a path of recognition and acceptance. In a world where we are taught to achieve everything through willpower, opposition, and overcoming, such an approach may seem radical. But it is in this seeming simplicity that the deepest wisdom and transformative power resides. It's important to note, when you walk the path of inner unity, you develop a special sensitivity to any calls that lead away from this center. If you are invited to go to war with someone, literally or metaphorically, if someone points to an external enemy in our world or in imaginary scenarios, stop and ask yourself, where does this path lead? Every call to war with an external enemy is an invitation to leave your inner garden. The path of war and struggle is always a path away from yourself, away from the Source. It's a path that feeds on your life energy, requires you to sacrifice your inner peace, your connection with unity. Remember, those who call you to fight against others need your soul as fuel for their ambitions. How to recognize such paths? Very simply, everything that divides the world into us and them, everything that requires breaking the inner sense of unity for the sake of fighting others, everything that feeds on fear and hatred leads away from the source, not toward it. True power never needs to destroy another. A river does not fight with stones in its path. It simply flows, circumventing obstacles, and over time even the hardest rocks yield to its gentle persistence. The results of the path of inner unity can be truly miraculous, healing at all levels, material and spiritual abundance, harmonious relationships, authentic love. But most importantly, it's finding a deep foundation within yourself, an unbreakable center of peace and clarity that remains unchanged even amidst the storms and changes of the external world. This foundation becomes a compass, pointing the way in all life situations. It gives you not only the strength to overcome obstacles, but also the wisdom to recognize which obstacles are illusory and don't require struggle. From this center comes intuitive understanding of when to act and when it's better to let go and allow life to flow its own way. A ship does not fight the ocean. It uses the sail to capture the power of the wind. So we do not fight life, but learn to capture its currents, moving in harmony with them. Begin this path today. Don't postpone until tomorrow what can change your entire life right now. Morning awakening in the alpha state is the ideal moment for the first step. Speak the words of recognition and permission that we discussed, with an open heart and readiness for transformation. And remember, this is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice, a path of gradual and continuous awakening. With each day, the connection with the source will become clearer, deeper, more natural. You will begin to notice how your perception of the world changes, how your relationships transform, how life begins to respond to your inner awakening with external changes. Life is not about solving problems, but expressing your true nature. When you stop struggling and start being, problems give way to opportunities. May each of your steps henceforth be illuminated by the light of inner presence, not as a distant ideal, but as a living, embodied reality here and now. And may the story of your awakening become a source of inspiration not only for you, but for everyone you meet on your path. We conclude our lesson, but in truth, this is only the beginning. The real journey doesn't happen in words, but in your own experience of connecting with the source, which renews itself every morning with the first breath of a new day.